How's it going, everybody? It's Mike. Welcome back to the S conversion kit. This is part 4. Really hope you guys have been enjoying this video, and we're going to jump right into it. Okay, so you want to grab the nut and the bolt from the top of your shock that was on this side, and you want to grab your first bracket, and this is going to go right up in there where your shock used to be, and then this will sit like that. So put your first bolt in that hole. Okay, so you got these brackets on with that bolt on both sides. Okay, so we finished pulling out the brake line, the old brake line. Okay, so he pulled off his side of the old brake line, and now he's starting to install the new brake line. So we'll be running this first brake line to that block. So he taped off this end so it wouldn't get dirty, because you have to start on his side and come through. Alright, so this is kind of tricky, but you want to get a zip tie there and a zip tie there underneath the shaft. Okay, so now we're running the second brake line to that same block. Okay, so he screwed the other brake line right there. So this one's the shorter one, and that one's the longer one. And then he just ran it underneath and came out this way. Next we'll be installing this bar, which will go in here, and installing these, which go in just like that. Okay, so when you start doing this, you'll be installing using these and these. So we slid this through. You might have to take this bracket off if you can't slide this through, but we slid it through, put this in, put this on, and put this on, lined it all up, and you slide the bolts through everything. And this is still 15 millimeters, and this will be 9/16. And then we also just put the bolt through in the bottom, just to have that all lined up before you torque all these down. Okay, so now you're going to want to grab this piece. Okay, so we're going to be grabbing these bolts. For this right here, this whole unit takes the standard stock bolt, but that one's got to be longer because we added this, and we installed the valves, the grease fittings there, and this piece on both sides, which is in the kit. So you'll be using one of these nuts for this right there, and again 9/16 and 15. Okay, so now we installed the top A-arm. We installed one of these valves, grease fittings, and we use the same hardware for that. So we're going to clean out in there with just like a wire brush, just so that the actual will go in easier. Okay, so he's spraying inside there because it was rusty
I had the problem with taking the other ones out, and now we're just lubing up the back axles. So we're just cleaning that out with the sand wire brush. So now we're installing the back hubs.
Those only go one way.
Can we hold anything?
Yeah, hold the axle up.
Okay, so now we just installed this top A-arm to the hub using the old hardware. Okay, so the instructions actually say that you might have to drill this hole because the stock bolt is too big. So we're just taking a drill and we're just going to drill through the holes just to make it bigger. Okay, so we made that bigger and we were able to put the stock bolt in. Okay, so we impacted the axle nut and put the cotter pin in, and we're using a 1/16. Okay, so we took this hardware off, which was this and these. So you're using the same bracket, but Super ATV gives you these new plastic pieces. So we'll be installing this sway bar. Okay, so we made a mistake. We cannot put this sway bar on because the bolts have to go this way, and this is blocking everything. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of disassembling. We should have put the sway bar on before, but you know, live and learn. So we're just gonna take this bolt off down here and redo a couple of these, put this on, and then reconnect those. So just take this off really quick, and then you can just attach it and then just put this back on. Okay, so we fixed that little problem. The sway bar is now in. This is back on, and we're going to start putting in our connectors from the sway bar to the A-arm. So the hardware we're using now are these. That number and the last of our nuts. And he's putting it on right now. Right there, and you're going to slide it through this hole.
Where's the other old brake hole?
Okay, so you're going to put that on there, use the same hardware, slide this bolt through here and through that. Okay, so we got this on. It's like a little tricky. These actually spin to help you out. I didn't know that. Now we're going to do the brakes, run the brakes to the hub, and we're gonna just run them on the A-arms and connect them. So next you're gonna be using these bolts. And you're gonna be putting these on and putting the bolts through, and there's holes. Okay, so we installed these. You might have to trim them. We had to cut this because it hits right there, and I cut this one. right there. Okay, so we installed the shocks on both sides. You'll be using the standard hardware that this was with. So surprisingly enough, it does not give you enough bolts. This is one of ours because we used the bolt for this in the back, and Super ATV does not give you an extra bolt for this. So they might want you to get one from Polaris, since the front sway bar brackets, they want you to also buy that from Polaris. So that might be why, but if you're going to install this shock, you're going to have to either get your own bolt or get one from Polaris.
This side looks real good. That side's not bad.
Yeah. All right, so we just put the tires back on. All right, guys, so we bled the brakes, and we're gonna do a little bit more to the machine. We just gotta grease the back fittings, double check that everything's bolted down, but for the most part, we're done. I really can't say enough about this lift. It really transforms these machines and brings them alive. I love how it just looks like a race car now. And you know, these are just stock tires still, and significant ground clearance already. Sweet. Okay, so we're just putting these back on. We had to take them off to bleed the brakes. They just slide right back on there. And they take these bolts. All right, everyone, so she's back home. And I'm just trying to give you a comparison of the after process. Still trying to compare it to this one. But we're gonna put bigger tires on this one eventually. But you know, if you do the lift kit, you don't have to. You really don't have to. The stock ones are fine. I mean, if you really need more ground clearance, then go for it. But you know, I get it, money wise. You just spent $2 grand. You might want to just run these tires down to the ground. You already have a significant amount of ground clearance, but you know, my intent is to make this one look more like this one. But you know, a less aggressive. I kind of want this one to stay like rock crawler looking, and then this one to look more stock race car. That's kind of like what I'm trying to do, to almost have like two machines with two different purposes, even though they are exactly the same. I mean, overall it came out perfect. I mean, really very sharp. I love the colors, how it just matches. But I'm not going to get tires right away, so I will be riding this one out in the field with this one. Just going over how it performs, what it's like, how much different it is, and all that. And again, I'm trying to get you guys more of an idea of like my camp and just how rugged it is, and really why we need this lift. I mean, this is a this is why I'm buying this lift, because my camp is very rocky, very rugged. They're not maintained trails. But you know, overall, definitely worth it. I would highly recommend anybody that wants to do this. Another thing for tires though, so you might be asking, okay, well, how does the power steering do when I go from these tires to these tires? And surprisingly, the power steering works excellent. There's no like struggle. The power steering is plenty strong to overtake these massive tires. So you'll basically be turning the exact same with these tires than as you are with these tires. So power steering overall, you will have no problem. There is no difference. Turning though, I have kind of found that you do turn a lot wider with this, and you still turn pretty sharp with this. And you know, I'm not sure exactly why, but I mean, I don't really mind it. That might be the only downfall when you start going bigger. So you're probably wondering, okay, so I got the lift, so what happens when I put these bigger tires on this machine? Am I going to start losing speed? Yes, you will start losing speed, but you'll still able to do 50, 60, 70 miles per hour with these tires. It's just going to take you longer to get to that speed. So then you might want to look into what I want to do down the road. Clutch kit, exhaust, maybe not a tuner. I mean, if it doesn't seem balanced, then yeah, possibly a tuner. But you know, we'll get there eventually. But you know, I've taken this machine, and I've already done 55 with these tires. That's fast enough. This is why I bought the lift kit for this machine, the other machine, before I kept on modifying the blue one. But you know, you'll get the lift for this, and then you'll actually realize that it's less tippy, and then you'll actually start pushing it harder, and you might just be satisfied as is, and that's fine. I mean, it's all about preference. But if you are content on doing the lift, getting the bigger tires the way this one's set up, then yeah, you are going to start to learn that you're going to start losing some performance. But you will be able to get that back. And again, depending on the riding style, that might not matter to you. But I will be going over all this in actual riding videos at my camp. Just different terrain and speed tests and all that type of stuff. Good catch. Come here. Come here, goofball. Come here. Good boy. Yeah.
Okay, everybody, so I really hope that entire install was helpful for anybody that was looking for more of an in-depth type of view. I'm gonna see who I can take riding pretty soon and test it out. Can't wait. Like usual, take care, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys out there.